Kiss FM, you know? So what else do you want from me, you know? But she didn't understand that. She forced me to go to school. I came out of school and Kiss FM had changed its format. You know, at that time it was the Budweiser Superfest, all the current stuff, and they changed to classic, you know.
Yeah.
And the radio personalities that were there didn't even know if they were going to have a job. So I got a job at a clothing store.
Okay.
And as the type of person I am is I treat everybody the same way. I talk to everybody. I don't, you know, oh, this person is important. Let me get to know them. And I met someone who worked at a record label while I was working at the clothing store. And that's how I ended up in the industry.
Oh, wow.
At some point or another, there was a lady that used to come into the clothing store all the time. She was always in a rush. She was always stressed out. She was always going to an event. And I didn't know she worked in the, you know, in the record industry, you know. I just knew that she came in all the time, and I got to know her, and I was like, what's your size? And I would just grab clothes for her and just hold it. So one day she came into the store and said, what do you want to do? Is this what you really want to do? I said, no, I've been looking for a job at a record label or a radio station or something for a while. And while she was in the dressing room, she passed her card over the dressing room, and she was the vice president of marketing at Atlantic Records. I was like, oh my God, you know, I had no idea that all this time, which the lesson there is to don't treat people based upon who you think they are, or what they just treat people, you know, well, period, you know.
Yeah.
And it turned out that's who she was, and she got me access, you know, and that's how I ended up in the industry. Now, you asked me specifically about publicity. Had no idea what publicity was. I went into the labels working in A&R, Columbia Jazz, and my boss decided that he was going to go work with Columbia Legacy. Now, I'm 22, maybe, and Legacy was the department where everybody was dead, you know?
Yeah.
All catalogs, like great stuff. You know, now that we are older, I can appreciate it, but great stuff. It was the Miles Davis reissues and Sarah Vaughan original tracks remastered, and I didn't want to do that. I was like, I'm not trying to work. I'm not that age yet. To go to the parties, I want to, you know.
I'm gonna dance the boogie, all of them.
Yes, I wanted to be where things were popping, you know. And luck would have it that there was a job in publicity. I had no idea what publicity was, but there was a job in publicity, and it was working for these two people, Yvette Noel Shore and Miguel Beguer. And my first, so I went there and I did the interview. They liked me, but I still didn't know what publicity was. I went my first day of work that day, and again, I'm aging myself completely, said, but it's okay. My first day of work at Columbia Records was going into the conference room and taking the order of four young teenagers from Houston who were Destiny's Child.
Yep.
I didn't know them as Destiny's Child at the time. You know, they weren't even Destiny's. They're Destiny's Child, but they weren't the Destiny's Child who you know them as, right?
Yeah.
So four young ladies, beautiful young ladies. I went in there, hi, I'm Yvette's new assistant. Can I get you, ordering food, right? And then they were like, oh, we're, if this person calls, and it was Maxwell calling on the phone. And then it was Kenny Lattimore, and then the Fugees, and Lauryn Hill was coming out with she was recording Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And then it was the Love Jones soundtrack. And then it was the Brat and JD and all the So Def stuff. It blew my mind. I was in the thick.
You were where you wanted to be.
Of everything at that time. It was amazing. And I learned so much, My first actual project that I was put in charge of was Lord Tariq and Peter Gunz' record, Uptown, Baby.
The Bronx.
And, so that's how I started. That's my entry into the industry.